Welcome back, Daisy Cakes. Today we are going old school and looking at books nominated from the early Hugo Awards and picking one book to add to my TBR. Why? Because I am Daisy Ex Machina, the drag queen detective who investigates all things speculative in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. I was thinking about doing this like Shelve It or Shove It, where I just pick books by their cover. And months ago, I compiled and downloaded a bunch of covers from the early Hugos and separated them by year, and the covers were awful. So I'm actually going to do a little investigation and read the blurbs or talk about the author. We shall see. Now, the Hugos started in 1953, but in later years, they decided to award retro Hugos going all the way back to 1939, and that's where we're going to start. The 1939 Retro Hugos, awarded in 2014. So the nominees for the 1939 Retro Hugos are T.H. White's The Sword in the Stone, Edgar Rice Burroughs' Carson of Venus, E.E. Smith's Galactic Patrol, Jack Williamson's The Legion of Time, and C.S. Lewis's Out of the Silent Planet. And the winner is T.H. White's The Sword in the Stone. Now, I'm just looking at all the nominees. I won't necessarily pick the winner, but let's talk for a moment about T.H. White's The Sword in the Stone. It's for the Once and Future King series. Is a really important work because it sort of revitalized the King Arthur myth. What T.H. White did was he took Mallory's Morte d'Arthur, and he used that as canon, but there were a lot of blank spaces, like the early childhood of King Arthur, that T.H. White filled in. I am kind of, I wouldn't say over, but I'm not really interested in Arthurian legend right now. I preferred the later works of Mary Stuart, who did the King Arthur story from Merlin's point of view, which I thought was fantastic. And later, Marion Zimmer Bradley did a feminist twist with The Mists of Avalon. I still think The Mists of Avalon is a really significant work, but of course, you need to separate the artist from the author on this one. And I have a whole video about that if you want to look it up. I personally am not that interested in the Arthurian legend right now. I have not read Sword in the Stone. Again, prefer Mary Stuart. So I'm going to go ahead and skip T.H. White's Sword in the Stone. Carson of Venus. I have read all the Venus books by Edgar Rice Burroughs. He's mostly known for, he's known for Tarzan, but my favorites were John Carter of Mars, which I think Carson of Venus is a spinoff of, or he tried to recapture the magic on Venus that he did on Mars. I hate this cover, but I probably, when I read it, there was a Frank Frazetta cover of Carson of Venus. I'll look that up, and if I can find it, I'll put it up here. But yeah, I've already read this. I'm not that interested in rereading Carson of Venus. The same for Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis, which I didn't realize was 1939. But I love Lewis's space trilogy. Now, C.S. Lewis is known for being a Christian writer, so there may be some allegories or references or inspiration to Christianity. Of course, the year is 1939. I don't know how much C.S. Lewis was incorporating his Christian beliefs into his writings. I just think it's fascinating that it was written so long ago, because I thought it was a little bit later, like in the 50s. Anyway, I'm going to say no to C.S. Lewis for the same reason that I'm saying no to Edgar Rice Burroughs, as I've read it already. I want something new. I want to find some of these retro authors that I know little about. So let's go ahead and look up E.E. Smith's Galactic Patrol. E. Smith, if you don't know, he's known as Doc Smith. And what is his PhD in? It says Edward E. Smith, PhD. Let's look it up. Okay, I had no idea. E. Smith was a food engineer specializing in donut and pastry mixes. So his PhD is in chemical engineering. That is so fascinating. Anyway, good old E.E. Doc Smith I know the name so well. Did he write Voyage of Space Beagle? I'm not sure. But if so, that's the only thing I've read from E.E. Smith. Galactic Patrol was originally serialized in the Astounding magazine in 1937. Now, if you don't know, in these early days of science fiction, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, even up through the 50s, you can make a lot more money writing short stories or serialized stories in the pulp magazines than you could writing a novel. Later, a lot of these authors put them together, the stories they published in the pulps, as completed novels. And that's what appears to have happened with Galactic Patrol, because it was later published in 1950 in Fantastic Press. Okay. Although portions of Triplanetary were written earlier, they were not originally part of the Lensman story. Okay, so this is the Lensman story. I've heard so much about E.E. Doc Smith's Lensman series that I am very, very intrigued. Okay, so it says, according to Wikipedia, it is preceded by First Lensman. I don't know what's going on with this serial. First Lensman, in terms of internal chronology, is the second novel in the Lensman series, but the sixth written by Smith. Okay, this is too confusing. I'm just going to look at Galactic Patrol. And I know it's the first of the Lensman series, and it's some type of space opera. And I'm very interested in it. Let's leave it at that. I am interested in Galactic Patrol. The other book I'm interested in is Jack Williamson's The Legion of Time. Now, Williamson's a big name in science fiction, but I don't remember reading anything by Jack Williamson. Maybe a short story in an anthology. I don't know if he was in any of Harlan Ellison's Dangerous Visions anthologies. If so, I did read him. But yeah, I can't think of a novel I've read by Jack Williamson. So Legion of Time would be my first. And the cover I got is super ugly. And in Wikipedia, there is no blurb. It says it's a novella, which is very interesting because I thought these were all novels. And even though there's no blurb, there's a section in Wikipedia about the reception. Aldous and Wingrove compared Legion of Time to a fairy tale, declared that its plot, while being philosophically meaningless, is a delight. What? Okay, I'm going to go on to Goodreads and try to find a blurb for Legion of Time. Okay. I'm on Goodreads. The Legion of Time, Jack Williamson, has a much more interesting cover. Actually, wait a minute. Let's put these covers side by side. What? The cover on Goodreads looks like it has these space marines or soldiers on the cover. And on the Wikipedia cover, it has this little child playing with a dog and this ball. What is going on? What is going on with the covers? Okay, the one-line blurb on Goodreads is, Denny Lanning travels into the future and fights to prevent the destruction of human civilization. Now, that's a big twist on time travel, because usually people time travel to the past to prevent some event that will destroy them in the present. This is traveling to the future. Now, if I can blow up this blurb on the cover in Goodreads, this Goodreads cover, the blurb says, mankind was horribly doomed unless an army of dead men could change the past. Okay, that's completely different than the blurb on Goodreads. I don't know what is going on with Legion of Time. But you know what? I don't care, because I'm not going to pick it. I'm going to pick E.E. Smith's Galactic Patrol, one of the book in the Lensman series, because I've heard so much about Lensman that I want to read at least one book. Because this is in 1939, I probably can find this on Project Gutenberg. Project Gutenberg, of course, has books in the public domain. Also, LibriVox has books in the public domain that people have read out loud for free audio versions. So I'm probably going to go to one of those for Galactic Patrol, which most likely will be Project Gutenberg. But of these 5 books, I want to know which book you would have picked based on the author or the cover or the blurb or whatever. And let me know if you've read any of these books. And especially let me know if you know anything about Jack Williamson's Legion of Time, because it sounds crazy. And while you're there, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Until we meet again, may all the books you read be blessed.